So you need to take some progress photos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do to get yourself into the right frame, the right position, and then go over the exact things that your coach is going to look for when you're taking these progress photos. So I'm going to cut to the vertical orient. What I recommend is you take these photos in the vertical orient like this. Now, obviously someone can take the photos for you, but for a lot of you, you may be waking up early in the morning and doing this before everybody wakes up. So I typically recommend, number one, starting this off, take it right when you wake up, after you go to the bathroom, essentially at the best part of the day. This is when you're the driest, you look the best, and also you haven't consumed food throughout the day, making this like, you know, just a function of how much water you've drank, how much food you've eaten, all that stuff. Now, what we're gonna do is I just have this set up on my windowsill. You can do a bookshelf, you can do it basically any edge where you can just set it up. I have the front facing camera set up so I can see myself. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back it up. Now, depending on where you're at, okay, in terms of confidence, we want you to do this in as little clothing as you feel comfortable with. So for me right now, just for demonstration purposes, I'm just doing this in a tank top and shorts. But typically what we would like to do is we would like to see the legs. We would obviously like to see the arms. And then, you know, we want to be able to see your form. Now, one thing that I recommend is don't wear black. I'm wearing black to show you how much it kind of washes out. You really can't see what's going on. So I don't recommend wearing black, but I do obviously recommend wearing some kind of form-fitting shirt. Now, the three poses that we're going to go through are, we're going to be in the front pose, we're going to be in the side pose, and then we're going to be in the back pose. Now, when you're standing, pretty much what you want to do is you want to get yourself nice and square, and then wherever you're taking the photos, just kind of think of, you know, I'm going to want to stand here every single time so that from week to week to week, I'm able to compare and contrast the photos with no real difference in lighting or, you know, space or how far away I am or anything like that. So if you look behind me, obviously I've got this light hanging down over our island. I can use that to kind of square up exactly where I need to stand. I've also got the edge of this island. These are basically landmarks that are going to be the same from time to time. And I've set up my camera. I have a sync handle right here, so I know roughly where to put the camera every single time. Now for the front photo, what we want to see is we want to see your chest up, shoulders rolled back, hands at your side. You can choose to flex your arms. You can choose to do like a front double bicep. You can do, you know, whatever you want to do. I definitely recommend having some kind of smile though. Usually when people are like first taking it, they look, you know, super depressed, but we want you looking your best because in the later weeks, you're going to be losing weight. You're going to be feeling your best. We want to see, again, the comparison. So chest is up, shoulders rolled back, hands at your side. Again, if you flex, that's great. Just think of, you want to be consistent. And what I always like to do is I always like to take multiple photos. So what I'll do is I'll do kind of my relaxed pose, and then I'll do my, you know, flexed pose, whatever you'd like to do. Then I'm going to turn. I always turn to the same side. So for me, I'm always turning to the left, and I'm facing my microwave over here. Again, you're going to do the same thing. Chest up, shoulders back, arms flexed. If you'd like, you can also just be like this. And then typically for the flexed poses, I like to have the arms out straight like this, and then you can see the abs flexed. You can also kind of see the reduction in size of your abs as well. Lastly, we're going to turn around. We're going to be in the back. Again, chest up, shoulders rolled back. You can flex. You can do, you know, relax, whatever you'd like to do. And then you're all done. You just press stop on the camera. So now it's time to take some measurements. We're going to do some body circumference measurements. And while I'm not going to show you every single one, typically, what we want to do is we want to figure out, again, how can we be consistent? how can we take measurements by ourselves and then have this point of reference moving forward to track progress. Okay, so what I've got is I've got a cloth tape. Okay, and this one is really cool because it retracts and stores easily. But what we've got is, again, something flexible because you're going to be wrapping it around your body parts. Now, typically, there are, I think, like close to maybe 15 points that you can measure through trainer eyes. You don't have to do all of them. The ones that I find very valuable are typically, number one, the neck. And this one is you can use for body fat percentage calculator. There's a US Naval body fat percentage calculator, which takes the neck for guys and girls. Then we do bicep. Then we do, for guys, the chest is really nice, and particularly for ladies, if you expect to lose a lot of weight around the chest, that's a good measurement. But the most important ones for guys and gals is going to be right around the belly button. And then for ladies, it's going to be right in the widest part. This is going to be widest part of your glutes. And then we've got mid-thigh, and then we've got mid-calf. So those are going to be the measurements that are the most important. So typically, when we take these measurements, when it's by yourself, really it's kind of like get it done. But again, you want to think of, I'm measuring it today. Am I going to remember how to measure it the next time? So if you've got your arm, you know, it doesn't have to really be anything nice and fancy, but you're just going to obviously grab the two ends here on your left. Typically, like with your arm, you can measure it and pin the tape around between your arm and your body. And then you can, with this X, you can kind of grab, you can see my hand, I've got part of it with two fingers in my left hand, and then my thumb and the remaining fingers here in the middle. So as far as your arm goes, typically what we want to do is we want to measure the widest part of the arm. Okay, so, and this is if you're growing your muscles or if you're losing the muscles. So for the arm, obviously I'm not gonna measure around my elbow because you're not gonna see literally any change. Typically that's not where a ton of fat is compared to right around your bicep. Basically in the middle, if you flex, you can, not that I'm trying to show off my arms or anything like that, but typically you're gonna find like roughly where it's gonna be. And typically like for the arm, this one's the hardest one because you can only use one arm to do all this stuff. Typically it's kind of right at the bottom of this tricep, and then it's gonna be slightly above like mid-arm, obviously below the shoulder. Now, when you look at these measurements, and I'm trying to do this at the same time, it's obviously a lot harder if you're trying to get the edge and to line up with some of this numbers. So basically what you'll do is you'll kind of choose like, here's 16 and then there's 4. So if you look at that, unflexed, and it's 12 inches, right? So nothing, the math is pretty easy, but basically if you wanted to look, and let's say it was something different like 16 and 4, and this is 3 and 4, right? So here's 3, here's 4. So that's 3.5. So you would just think, all right, 3.5, and then 16, and then just do obviously the math from there. Now with your neck, it's a little bit easier. I don't recommend that you actually film yourself doing this because it's very boring and I don't actually need the video, but what you could do is you can measure around your neck. You obviously can't see this one. You just, stand up nice and relaxed. You bring it together. Again, you're not trying to choke yourself. You just want it firm, and then you pin basically the two X's together. And then if you look in the mirror, you can kind of see where those two cross up. Now this one for the neck, if you're not looking in the mirror, you're just kind of doing it, is you would take the end, you would bring it to essentially the meaty part of the tape, and then you would pinch it, make sure that you adjust it, and then from here, because it's the end and it's 0, you can basically do this, and then you can look on the tape and see like, oh, okay, that's 13.5 or whatever the measurements are. And then for the abs, you just go around to your midsection, and then you can just look down and see what it is. So basically everything kind of from the chest down is super easy. The arms and the neck are really tough just because you're trying to do it by yourself with one arm, whatever it is. But obviously cloth tape is the best way to do it. If you have somebody else to help you, that's Megatron easy. But if you're just doing it by yourself, you could still do it. And by the second time you're doing it, it's going to take you just a few seconds. All right, so if you're going to edit your photos, get your screen cap, what you're going to do is you're going to go into your, obviously, photo app, whatever that is. And then what I'm going to do is I kind of did I'm telling you like how to do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of scan through the video, and then obviously this is playing. What you're going to do is you're going to press pause, and then you can scroll through and then pretty much find what you want to take a photo. You can kind of go frame by frame, and then you basically want to just center right on what is the perfect photo that makes you look the best. Here, I got a nice flex. Here, my eyes are closed. I don't look that good. So I'm going to go with that one. Then you take a screen grab. For obviously iPhone, you press the volume up and the power button at the same time. And then now you have a screen grab. So I go down, I check this screen grab. I don't actually want to give everything on this photo to my coach, or I don't really care about having the play button, the share, like that's actually part of the screen grab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this edit button, and then it's going to come down here. You're going to see this little crop button down here at the bottom, which I just selected. It has that little yellow dot, and I'm going to drag and frame this photo how I want. I want to cut out all the stuff that I don't need. And then now I press done. Boom. Super easy.